Have you ever wondered if there's a map for human history? A blueprint that lays out the rise and fall of great empires, even predicting events thousands of years in the future? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but what if I told you it exists, hidden in an ancient text? Today, we're diving deep into the book of Daniel, chapter 2, to uncover a single jaw-dropping prophecy that some believe outlines the entire sweep of world history, from ancient Babylon right up to our present day and beyond. This isn't just an old story. It's a prophetic timeline that has fascinated scholars, theologians, and historians for centuries. So, grab your notebooks, because what we're about to explore might just change the way you see the world forever. Our story begins with the most powerful man in the world at that time, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon. Around 600 BC, this king had a dream that troubled him so deeply he couldn't sleep. But here's the catch. He couldn't remember the dream itself. He only remembered the intense feeling of dread it left behind. So he summons all his wise men, his magicians, astrologers, and sorcerers, and gives them an impossible task. Tell me what I dreamed, and then tell me what it means. The wise men were stunned. They told the king, "Tell us the dream, and we'll interpret it." But Nebuchadnezzar was adamant. He knew anyone could make up an interpretation if they heard the dream first. He needed proof of their power. He told them, "If you can't tell me the dream and its meaning, I'll have you all executed." As you can imagine, panic set in. Nobody on earth could do what the king demanded. The execution order was given. This is where a young Hebrew captive named Daniel enters the scene. Daniel and his friends, also serving in the king's court, were on that execution list. When Daniel heard about the decree, he didn't panic. Instead, he asked for time and went to the only source he believed could reveal such a secret: God. Daniel and his friends prayed, and that night the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. He didn't just get the interpretation. He was shown the exact dream the king had. The next morning, Daniel was brought before the king. He started by making one thing very clear. No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He was pointing the king away from himself and towards a higher power. Then Daniel described the dream. He told Nebuchadnezzar, "Your Majesty looked, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance." He described a towering figure made of 4 different metals. The head was made of pure gold. Its chest and arms were of silver. Its belly and thighs were of bronze. Its legs were of iron, and its feet were a strange mixture of iron and baked clay. Then, in the dream, something extraordinary happened. A rock, not cut by human hands, was hurled at the statue, striking its feet of iron and clay and smashing them to pieces. The entire statue, the iron, clay, bronze, silver, and gold, crumbled into dust, so fine that the wind swept it away without a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain that filled the whole earth. Can you imagine the king's face? This was exactly what he had dreamed. Daniel had passed the impossible test. Now, for the most important part, the interpretation. Daniel explained that the statue represented a succession of world empires. The head of gold, he told Nebuchadnezzar, was the king himself and his Babylonian empire. Babylon was known for its immense wealth and splendor, a fitting symbol for a head of gold. History confirms Babylon's dominance from about 605 BC to 539 BC, but the dream showed that his kingdom would not last forever. A second inferior kingdom would rise after him, represented by the chest and arms of silver. This perfectly aligns with the Medo-Persian Empire, which conquered Babylon in 539 BC. The 2 arms of silver are often seen as representing the 2 parts of the empire, the Medes and the Persians. While vast, The Medo-Persian Empire used silver as its standard for currency and taxation, making it symbolically inferior to Babylon's gold. This empire ruled until it was conquered by Alexander the Great. Next, the prophecy moves to the belly and thighs of bronze. Daniel predicted a third kingdom would rise, which would rule over the whole earth. This points directly to the Grecian Empire, led by Alexander the Great. Starting in 331 BC, Alexander's armies swiftly conquered the known world. Bronze was the metal of the Greek soldier. Their helmets, shields, and swords were often made of bronze. The speed and ferocity of the Greek conquest are well documented, and they dominated the world stage just as the prophecy foretold. But like the empires before it, Greece's power would also fade, giving way to the fourth, and perhaps most significant, kingdom in the prophecy. The fourth kingdom is described as the legs of iron. Daniel says, "Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything, and as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others." Historians almost universally agree that this describes the Roman Empire. Rome was a military machine, unlike anything the world had ever seen. The iron legions of Rome crushed all opposition, ruling with an iron fist from about 168 BC for centuries. The Roman Empire's influence on law, language, and government is so profound that its legacy is still felt today. The two legs are often interpreted as representing the division of the Roman Empire into its western and eastern branches, with capitals in Rome and Constantinople. But the prophecy doesn't end there. It gets even more specific, and this is where it speaks directly to our world today. Daniel described the feet and toes of the statue as a mixture of iron and clay. He explains, "Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. The iron represents the lingering strength and legacy of Rome, but the clay represents a fundamental weakness." Daniel says, "They will mix with the people, but they will not adhere to one another, just as iron does not mix with clay." This describes the state of Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire. It fractured into numerous nations. Many have tried to reunite it: Charlemagne, Napoleon, Kaiser Wilhelm, Hitler, but every attempt to forge a new unified empire has failed. The nations, some strong like iron, some weak like clay, simply will not adhere to one another. This prophecy, made 2,600 years ago, accurately predicted the perpetually divided political landscape of modern Europe. Now we come to the dramatic conclusion of the dream, the rock cut out without hands. Daniel reveals that in the days of those final kings, the divided kingdoms of the feet and toes, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed. This kingdom, represented by the rock, will crush all the other kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This rock, not made by human effort, grows into a great mountain that fills the entire earth. For believers, this is the most exciting part of the prophecy. It's interpreted as the establishment of God's eternal kingdom, brought about by the Messiah, Jesus Christ. It's a kingdom that isn't political or military in the earthly sense, but a spiritual kingdom that will ultimately have dominion over all. It signifies the final and complete victory of good over evil, and the establishment of a world of peace and righteousness that will never end. So let's recap. A dream given to a pagan king over 2.5 millennia ago laid out a precise timeline. Babylon, the head of gold; Medo-Persia, the chest of silver; Greece, the thighs of bronze; Rome, the legs of iron; and a divided Europe, the feet of iron and clay, which continues to this day. And finally, the promise of an eternal kingdom that will one day replace all human governments. Every single stage of this prophecy has come to pass with 100% accuracy, right up to the very age we live in. That's a track record that defies coincidence. It challenges us to consider the source of this incredible knowledge. The book of Daniel doesn't just tell us about the past. It gives us a framework for the present and a profound hope for the future. It suggests that history is not a random series of chaotic events, but a story being guided to a specific and glorious conclusion. What do you think? Is this prophecy the ultimate proof of a divine plan for humanity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey through prophecy. If this blew your mind as much as it does mine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into ancient mysteries. See you in the next video.